Welcome to the Nordic Venture Show, your speed date with the coolest ventures, brightest founders, and exciting things happening in the Nordics. In this episode, our venture date is with Agteria Biotech, net zero agriculture through methane inhibition.
Welcome to the deep dive. You're probably here because, like us, you want to really get to grips with important topics. But, quickly and without getting totally swamped.
Exactly. Cut through the noise.
Right. So today we're diving into Agteria Biotech. They've set this, frankly, massive goal, cutting 1% of global greenhouse gas emissions by 2035.
Which is huge, yeah. We've been looking at their own materials, their mission, their approach.
And our goal here is to figure out, okay, how exactly do they plan to do that? What's special about their way of tackling this?
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
And get this, something that really jumped out at me. Cattle emissions, just from cows, are apparently comparable to all the greenhouse gas emissions from the entire United States.
It's staggering when you put it like that, isn't it? Really shows the scale.
So how does Agteria plan to even start chipping away at that?
Well, what's interesting and kind of smart is their focus. They're zooming in on methane specifically.
Methane. Okay, why methane? You hear so much about CO2.
Right, and CO2 is definitely the long game problem. It stays up there for ages, centuries even. But methane... Agteria points out it's way more potent short term.
More potent? How much?
Like 80 times more powerful at trapping heat than Koyuro over, say, a 20-year window.
80 times. Wow.
Yeah. But here's the flip side. It also breaks down much faster. Its lifespan is only around, 20 years or so.
Ah, okay. So if you target methane, you could potentially see results faster, like slow down warming more quickly now.
That's the idea. It's a lever for maybe faster impact while we also deal with the long-term CO2 issue.
Makes sense. Sort of a two-pronged attack. And cows are big methane producers, you said.
Huge. That whole process of enteric fermentation, basically, cow digestion, their burps, mostly Agteria, states that accounts for over 5% of total global greenhouse gas emissions.
5% globally just from cow digestion. That's significant.
It really is. So you can see why targeting it could make a real dent.
Okay, so what's their weapon of choice here, this ABO1 thing?
Yep, ABO1. They call it their novel patent-pending methane inhibitor.
Sounds fancy. What does it actually do?
They position it as basically the first really effective solution that's also designed to be low cost. The big claim is delivering the highest reduction per euro.
Highest reduction per euro. Okay, that's catchy. It signals efficiency, not just effectiveness.
Exactly. It needs to work in the real world, economically speaking.
And I read the dosage is tiny, like less than a gram.
Yeah, 1 G additive per cow per day.
Super small amount.
How does that even work?
Well, that part of the appeal, right? Low cost for the additive itself, and it makes it easier to actually use. They stress it's designed to be universal.
Universal, meaning?
Meaning designed to feed any cow, anywhere, anytime. So regardless of the farming system, feedlot, grazing, whatever.
Okay, but how does adding less than a gram of powder stop a cow from producing methane without messing up its digestion? That seems like the tricky part.
Right. So they say ABO1 blends easily into standard feeding practices. And the key bit is that it reduces the emissions without disrupting the animal's normal rumen function. The rumen, that's the main stomach compartment, yeah, where all the microbes live.
Exactly, that complex gut ecosystem. Yeah. The idea is that ABO1 selectively targets just the specific microbes, the methanogens, that produce the methane.
Ah, so it inhibits the methane makers but leaves the other helpful gut bacteria alone?
That's the claim. So you reduce emissions without harming the animal's health or, its ability to digest food properly.
Okay, tiny dose, big impact, safe for the cow. Sounds good on paper, but getting that to potentially millions, even billions of cows worldwide for that 1% target. How?
Yeah, the logistics. That's where their focus on integration and scalability comes in.
Integration?
They stress it's designed to seamlessly integrate into existing value chains. So using the feed mills, the distribution networks that are already there.
So not trying to build a whole new system from scratch.
Right. And they also mention it's built on scalable production methods and existing infrastructure. Again, it's about practicality and being able to ramp up production if it takes off.
And that links back to the maximum impact per euro idea. Keep it practical.
Exactly. It all has to work together.
Has this actually been tested, though, or is it still mostly lab work?
No, they state it's been tested in multiple in vivo trials. So trials with actual live cattle.
Okay, real-world tests.
Yeah, and apparently, with the world's leading professors involved, they report seeing consistent methane reduction over extended periods.
And crucially, no harm to the animals.
Right, they emphasize no adverse effects on animal health or behavior.
Yeah.
Which is, absolutely vital for farmers to even consider using it.
Makes sense. And they also mentioned something about speeding up the research.
Oh yeah, they talked about working in parallel rather than sequentially on different research aspects to sort of streamline the process and shorten the timelines to get it market ready.
Trying to move fast, which seems necessary given the climate situation.
Definitely.
And this ABO1, it's not the end goal for them, just the beginning.
Seems so. They call ABO1 just the start of a larger vision of making agriculture net zero.
Net zero agriculture. That's ambitious.
Very. But they state their intention is to keep building more products to cut greenhouse gases, effectively safe, scalable, highly effective.
So a pipeline of solutions, potentially?
That's the picture they paint.
And are they trying to do this alone, or?
No, they seem big on collaboration. They say the best solutions are built together and mention working with farmers, partners, and customers.
Which seems smart in agriculture. You need farmer buy-in.
Absolutely. The solutions have to work on the ground practically and economically for the people using them.
So that 1% global reduction goal by 2035, even if the exact megaton number isn't specified in what we saw, that percentage itself speaks volumes about the potential impact they're aiming for.
Oh, absolutely. A 1% cut in global emissions from one technology stream would be massive. It shows the scale of their ambition, for sure.
Okay, last practical point. How does this stuff actually get into the cows? You mentioned different farming systems.
Right, they seem to have thought about that. They have different formulations. There's a solid, stable powder that you can mix into feed easily, like for feedlot cattle, or into mineral mixes.
Okay, standard feed additive approach.
Then there's a concentrate form. That sounds like it allows for more precise dosing, maybe useful with automated feeders, or potentially for grazing cattle, too.
And grazing cattle, they aren't getting daily feed rations usually. How does it work for them?
Good question. They have a slow-release formulation specifically mentioned for grazing cattle, like a bolus maybe, or something that dissolves slowly in the rumen.
Ah, providing that small dose over a longer period.
Exactly. So it covers different scenarios, aiming for that any cow, anywhere usability.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up then. Agteria Biotech is basically going hard after methane from cattle with this ABO1 inhibitor.
Yeah, focusing on that high-potency, short-term impact of methane.
And their whole approach seems built around being highly effective, but also low-cost, easy to integrate into current farming, and scalable.
Backed by, they say, solid science and real-world trials showing it works without harming the animals.
With this massive goal of cutting global emissions by 1% by 2035, which hinges on getting this adopted widely.
Right. And it's just their first step, apparently, towards a bigger vision for sustainable agriculture.
It's definitely, well, it's a fascinating approach. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, imagine if this, or things like it, really take off. What other ripple effects could we see from making farming more sustainable beyond just emissions?
It's a good question. Healthier ecosystems, changes in land use, economic shifts in rural areas.
And could this targeted approach focusing on potent, shorter-lived gases like methane be applied effectively elsewhere? What other big wins might be out there?
Yeah, lots to ponder about where innovation like this could lead.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for diving deep with us today on Agteria Biotech.
Thanks for tuning in. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Music, or your favorite app, and connect with us on LinkedIn for more stories and insights.